Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Full Service Radio.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agricultural space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. So today on the show, I have an absolutely dynamic guest. Oh, wow. And I'm fangirling, as I've been since this morning. I have Jerri Evans of Turning Natural, y'all.
Hi.
Peace, Jerri.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just grateful that you carved some space out for me today.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that a dog?
Definitely a dog.
All right, y'all. We're at the line, okay? And you can bring your pets here. So anyway, so a lot of y'all know Jerri, but let me just give you a brief bio. So Jerri Evans is the owner of Turning Natural. The juice bar was founded by her mother after being diagnosed with cancer and is now led by Jerri, who quit a career as an aeronautical, did I pronounce that right? Engineer. We're going to get to the bottom of that too, to pursue helping those who are looking to take better care of themselves. With over 20 years of experience in juicing and holistic living, Jerri knew that Turning Natural would provide a valuable service to communities lacking healthy food options. The dog will not let us live today, guys. For real. Somebody give him or her a treat now. Peace, Jerri, again. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay.
I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. I listen, whenever someone obliges to my invitation to come to my show, I am just like happy because, again, I don't know what I'm doing, and you probably do this more than I do, and I tell people that all the time. Maybe I should stop saying that, but I'm just saying.
You're a pro.
I'm a pro.
Put it out there.
Okay, I'm a pro, guys. I'm a pro. So for our listeners today, we're going to learn a little bit more about Jerri. Again, I know you guys know, some of you all know who Jerri is. You're probably a patron like myself, okay? I'm a big fan of Turning Natural. And so, but we're going to get to know Jerri just a little bit we're going to get to know her and about her personal journey in this space. We're also going to have her to define impact for us and what this means to her and for her business, Turning Natural, because she is more than just a business owner. She is more than just a person who's created these juice bars. It's deeper than that. So we're going to get to the bottom of this impact that she's been creating in her communities. And then we're going to learn some of the narratives that are being told within the Turning Natural community, because I'm sure people are being healed and people are happy. And let me tell you, I've been to the locations, and when I tell you they walk in there with conviction, give me my juice. But all good vibes, though. All good vibes. Yes. I love it. I totally love it.
Thank you.
And then we're going to get an understanding of what it takes to operate a mission-driven business. Like, this is like total mission-driven, guys. Like, just not for play.
Right.
Ain't for play, right?
We out here for real.
We out here for real on a mission. So again, I'm really excited. I'm a big fan. I love Jerri. I met her very briefly last year at BroccoliCon, and I went up to her, spoke for a few minutes. I know there were a trillion people there. She didn't remember me from Adam, but I'm just so grateful to have you in my space. It's okay. I'm surprised you weren't even out of town or out the country. I don't know. This girl is busy, y'all. This girl's busy. So just a little bit, just opening stores here and there. It's all good. So Jerri, you're a DC native, like straight from Southeast. Southeast. You better pronounce that F in South, okay? It's not South, it's Southeast, y'all. Southeast DC. So you grew up in Southeast, and you've now been carrying on this legacy that actually your mother started. So walk us just a little bit through your journey growing up in
Sure.
DC and what that looked like.
So I am from Southeast DC.
Southeast.
And I grew up on 16th and Good Hope. Growing up in DC was just, let me say, colorful.
Yeah.
Very, very eccentric place. I think DC has the best people ever. And I've gone a lot of places. Growing up in Southeast, you get to know your local drug dealers. You get to know your local drug users. And DC has, specifically Southeast, has always been a food desert. And I remember in 2001, when my mom was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, it was literally a shock to me. My aunt was diagnosed in 1999 with stage 4 breast cancer, and to us, it was a death sentence because shortly after, she passed away. When that happened, I was like, wow, what do we do? We didn't have a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's or even a Harris Teeter. We had the janky Safeway up the street on Alabama Avenue.
That's still there.
That's still there, and that's still serving kale that looks like shit.
Absolutely.
Produce that I wouldn't even give my Cane Corso. He probably wouldn't even eat it. So, it was a slap in the face to not be able to have access, but I didn't even know we didn't have access. Right? Like, I didn't know.
Because that's just what you knew.
It's all I knew. All I knew was the carry out. All I knew was the candy lady that was literally on the corner of 16th Street and would go get some fruities and a pickle and a hot sausage, like totally eating like crap.
Right.
We didn't know anything. And so when cancer knocked on our door, we decided, okay, all of this has to change. Well, let me say, my mom decided because we didn't. And she took out all the good stuff, or what we thought was the good stuff, like honey buns and fruit snacks. And we're like, okay, I don't have cancer. Why do I have to change what I'm doing? But she knew that if we ultimately changed our lifestyle, it would become a habit. Right. If we changed our habits, it will become a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And from then on, this I've been about that healthy lifestyle. I probably need to change that 20-year thing because that makes me feel old, like 20 years.
Well, we're probably not too far in age, but 20 years is real.
It's a little light season.
When you found out that your mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, what did you feel immediately?
I felt like I was going to lose my mom. And little did I know, 10 years later, I would.
Wow.
And so in that 9.5, 10-year mark, a lot changed from what we ate, how we looked at the things that we ate, really diving into health. Because when you start talking about health, it becomes taboo for people immediately. They're like, I don't know.
Exactly.
But, I could sell shrimp and grits all day and no one would ask me where I get the shrimp from. Nope. They don't ask if the grits are gluten-free. They don't have any questions. But the moment I slap health on it, it's 1,000 questions, as you should. You should be questioning the things that you eat because your body... food is medicine and food is information, and how your body responds to it is going
information.
to
I like that.
process differently. So once cancer knocked on our door, life had to change. We didn't have a choice.
Wow.
And it's changed since then.
Absolutely. Yes, it has. So did your mother see a holistic doctor, or did she just do her research? So, because she started Turning Natural.
She did. And Turning Natural was a play on her last name. My mom was Annette Turner. And so Turning Natural was, and even now it's not committing to changing one way. It's you're constantly doing it. You're constantly turning natural. And so she did a holistic and a conventional route. She went to Cancer Treatment Center of America in Zion, Illinois. And sorry, my headphones.
No, you're good. Mine slid off last week. All the way legit. I'm not even playing.
So Cancer Treatment Center of America, which really believes in focusing on, they give you a choice. Do you want to do conventional or do you want to take an alternative route? And she did a little bit of both because she had stage 2 breast cancer, which was she had to do a lumpectomy, which the cancer is in her lymph nodes. And so the first doctor where she was diagnosed in Georgetown, he opted out to remove both of her breasts. And she's like, wait. Let me digest the building you just dropped on me that I have cancer. And in her mind, he doesn't know. I just lost my sister, less than 2 years ago from this same very thing. And so that's when she got a second opinion, Cancer Treatment Center of America. My mom flew for 8 months, back and forth to Chicago to do chemotherapy and radiation while raising 2 children by herself and a full-time student.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the ultimate sacrifice, and seeing that was like, I can make this change. It's not a big deal. I can sacrifice my fruit snacks and honey buns for the sake of living a quality life.
Absolutely.
And so she started turning natural in her living room. She was doing like before flat tummy tea and all of that stuff. She was doing actual herbal teas, juicing, because during chemotherapy she really didn't have an appetite, or she always felt nauseated. So juicing was a way that she can get in all of her nutrients and all of her fruits and vegetables without having to actually consume them and eat them. And she was doing aqua chi foot detoxing, where it's this, and no shade to people who still do it. To me, it's a weird situation. You put your feet in this water where there's a module, and it pulls
toxins and metal. It is weird.
And so in my mind, it was like, okay, cool, whatever you have to do to stay healthy. And when my mom passed away, I was an aeronautical engineer working for Lockheed Martin. My specialty was F-22 fighter jets. And so here I am in Atlanta at this point, because I left D.C. when I was 17.
Okay.
Went to Nashville to go to school at Tennessee State University, and then left there and became an engineer.
Okay.
And then I went straight into my career path. And it was, I think, around April of 2010 when my mom called me and said, come home.
Wow.
And I'm like, she rarely made calls like that. And I'm like, well, what's up? And she's like, well, just come home. And I come home and I see the epitome of strength, weak. And I'm like, what's happening? What's wrong? And she's like, I don't know. But let me tell you something. If my mother coughed, she went to Cancer Treatment Center of America. She didn't play any games after cancer.
Sick. Yeah.
So we fly out to Cancer Treatment Center of America on Mother's Day of 2010. And the doctor is like, well, your blood platelets are low. Let's, get you a blood transfusion. And, she's a black mom. She's like, take your ass back to work. And I'm like, I'm not leaving here until I know that you're on the plane with me.
I swear, our moms are black mom.
She's like,
sound like my mother.
Go back to work.
Exactly.
And I'm like, are you crazy?
Get your paycheck.
Now? No.
That is Melinda L. Jones all the way. That is my mother.
And so I stayed for a couple of days, and my job was really cool about me teleworking. And then she was like, no, really, go back to work because you're grown and I'm not taking care of you. And so she was feeling better. And I remember I get back to work and she calls me and she says, I have good news and I have bad news. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the bad news? And she's like, they're sending me home. And I'm like, that's not bad news. And I said, well, what's the good news? And she said, there's nothing else they can do for me. And I'm like, did they give you something? Are you
in your right mind? Or
And she says, no. She said, I'm tired. And hearing that, it made me realize that she hadn't made peace with death. She made peace with life.
Wow.
That I've lived such a life that I can tell my grown child that I am tired. And I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to go through chemo and radiation and all of this, because at this point it has spread to, she was in remission for 9.5 years, and it came back. It was much more aggressive. It went to her bones, and then it went to her liver.
Oh my gosh.
And the breaking point for me was when she said, Jerri, I'm waiting on God to either heal me or to come get me. And I'll be disappointed if he don't come get me.
Really?
And at that point, I pulled, because I was driving. I pulled over, I muted my phone, and I bawled.
You just bawled.
Because I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, no, there is,
like,
we're going to fix
can't leave
this.
me. Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to fix this. And I'm like, in my mind, because I'm a fixer, I'm like, I have blood type O, I'm going to give you my liver, we'll figure it out. And she's like, no, I'm tired. And I had to swallow that pill because I don't know what that fight is like to go through cancer and have to chemotherapy, and you're weak and you're sick, and just to save face for your kids, to even make them not feel like you're sick. And so it was then that we started to, prepare ourselves as much as you can. And I'm going to tell you, there is nothing to prepare you for death, especially of your mother. And literally, I fly home. I called my job, and I was like, so I'm going home. and I need to go home for a while. And they're like, we can't afford for you to go home. I'm like, well, then I quit.
Then
and then they're like, whoa, okay, wait, let's figure this out. We worked out a hotel work thing. I flew home the next day, and the entire time I am praying to God, please keep my mother.
Exactly.
I don't want her to die, and I'm not
and
here.
You're not there.
And so I get home, and literally, this is May 9th, May 18th, my mom transitions. And life changes. Death definitely has a way of changing your life. And I knew then, like, my world stopped. Literally, world stopped. And I had to decide, what's next. I have an 18-year-old brother. Glad he's 18 because now I don't have to adopt a kid.
Right. Shout out to bro.
He's an adult. I'm an adult, but you still need your mom. At 24,
Absolutely.
you still need your mom.
Yeah.
And so I went back to work for a little while, got my brother situated. And one day I'm sitting at my desk, and I hear clear as day my mother ask me, why are you still here? Wow. And I knew, I was like, okay, this is what they're talking about, like in grief counseling, where you lose your shit. Like I've lost my mind at this point, because if I turn around and see my mother, they're going to admit me. And
because you're just going to go wild.
And so I'm like, but why am I here? I'm not here anymore. I wasn't there physically. I really was, I'm just going through the motion at this point. And I went to my boss's office, and I said, you know what? I quit. And he was like, no, because at that point I was doing about at least equivalent to 2 people's jobs.
Wow.
And he's like, we're getting help. We're interviewing people. I said, no, you don't understand. I don't want to do this anymore. And it was at that point I had to decide the difference between what I'm good at and what my gift is. I'm good at math. I'm good at physics and all of that stuff. But my gift was to now share the wealth of knowledge of health. Like, there are people dying of cancer because we eat like shit, we live like shit.
Every day.
And we don't have access to it. And it's not just Black people that don't have access to healthy options.
Absolutely.
A lot of us live in food deserts and don't even know it. But you just... And historically, Black people just don't have access.
Right.
And access doesn't necessarily mean just funds. I can't go down the street.
There isn't a grocery store in my neighborhood. And that's up in affluent Prince George's County. That's and you're exactly right. There's nothing in my immediate neighborhood where I can just go and get like a healthy head of lettuce.
Right.
That's poor, rich, wherever. So let me pause really quick. So this is Melissa L. Jones here at the Edible Activist Podcast. I am chatting here live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. with Jerri Evans of Turning Natural. And for those who don't know, Turning Natural is one of my favorite juice bars.
Thank you.
And she bought me some juice, guys. I wish you could see it. She's so sweet. She bought me 4 juices. I can't wait. No, you can't have any. Maybe I'll share. I don't know. But, she's just, Jerri is from Southeast D.C. That's where she grew up. And she's just walking us through her personal journey. Her late mother, actually, who passed away due to breast cancer, started Turning Natural. And so now Jerri is I can pronounce this, guys. All right. She's carrying the torch.
Yes.
Okay. Of her mom's legacy and providing healthier options to communities who don't have access and who are not at proximity to healthy food options. So just walking us through what her childhood was like growing up in DC. We already know the corner stores are filled with processed food, sugary foods that are killing us.
Yes.
And so just witnessing the health disparity right in front of your face with your mom, I couldn't even help but to like my heart was just like racing, because I haven't been in that space before. But I can tell you right now that I feel like over the last couple weeks, people have been just not extremely close to me, but kind of close to me, or and some in the realm of my network have been dying. And so the frustrating thing is people dying and they don't have to die.
Absolutely.
Like, that is the most frustrating thing. And what you're doing is, and I was looking at some videos and I was reading some articles, and one of the reasons why I definitely want you to define impact is because you made a very profound statement. I can't remember what video this is, but you said people tend to romanticize entrepreneurship, where we like, oh, we wake up in the morning, I can go to yoga, I'm on my own schedule, you know. And in many instances, that's true. But turning natural is more than just entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's definitely impact,
Yeah.
you know. So walk us through the impact that, you know, you personally, because I know people probably just look up to you individually in what you do, but also from a business perspective, because you guys are making a true impact on your neighborhoods, the people who live in those communities, people who don't even live in those communities, you know, like this is a movement. So thank you for sharing that about your mom. I know, I'm sure it's still sensitive. You know, it would be sensitive to me. My heart was just racing because just to hear that she told you that she's just tired.
Yeah.
I'm sure all that just sucked life out of her. That traveling, the chemo and everything, it had to suck the life out of her.
Yeah.
It had to. But I'm sure I know she's proud. I
would hope so. I'm sure she has some critiques, but you know, what would a mom be?
That's what a mom, right? Over your shoulder. Girl, take that leap.
So when it comes to impact, you know, we're in the day and age of the influencer, right?
Yes.
And especially with social media influence, it's like, how do I get you to buy something? And my thing is, I don't make money from social media. Like, I don't have a product that you can go online and buy. I have to motivate you to come into a space to buy something. So the impact that I think that Turning Natural has is to make a decision to be healthy and maintain it. That's it. You know, make the decision like today I'm going to make a better choice, because I try to remove healthy options from the entire narrative because, again, it's taboo. People don't want to hear that shit. They just want to hear, okay, this is better than doing this.
Right.
And so how does Turning Natural provide a better choice? One, make it cool, make it relatable, and make the shit taste good.
Don't give me no nasty juice. I'm a projectile, vomit the stuff out. Like, don't. And no, you're absolutely right. And, you know, making it relatable, you know, you're already transitioning, you know, again, I don't care what community you live in. If you're not acclimated to it, it's new to you, you know, and the same convincing that you have to do to someone in a certain population, regardless of their financial situation, it's the same across all boards, but making it relatable, you know, and a product that, yes, is healthy, but like it's cool. And you guys do a really good job at that.
Thank
just
you.
Making stuff cool, you know, again. So one of my favorite locations, it was actually your first location in District Heights.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, every time I go in there, and it's not just juice, y'all. They have these veggie patties that are so good. Okay. But they come in there with conviction. Like, I'm getting my juice today. And
let you not have something.
And let you not.
They're going to make you call a location. Who has it? And why don't you have it? Will you have it tomorrow? Matter of fact, will you have it later on today?
Absolutely. I mean, and it just brings me so much joy to see people who look like us who want to do the healthy thing, you know, and whenever I say healthy, sometimes I need to throw quotes around it because everybody has their own definition of health, and I can have a trillion people define health and everyone will say something different, although a lot of similarities, but it just brings me so much joy because a lot of the stats, we're the ones who are in those stats, you know, so to walk into a place and know that you're not only going to get served, but it's a place of impact.
Yeah.
You know? So what does like impact mean to you and like your employees who you work with as well? You know, because it all falls from the head, right?
Yeah.
You know? So it starts with the visionary, which is you, and then it just falls down to, you know, the employees and, you know, because you're educating people, you know?
You know, Turning Natural is just a reflection of me. And so all of our locations are strategically placed to places that mean something to me. So in Forestville, in that plaza, because people are like, you're in this washed up plaza, why are you here? I attended church for at least 15 years in that same plaza.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Didn't even know there was a church over there.
Yeah, they're no longer there now.
Okay.
But that place has always been a space for me.
Yeah.
Southeast. I grew up in Southeast.
Yeah.
So 16th of Good Hope is right there on MLK, right there by MLK. 8th Street location. My mom grew up on 21st and Benton Road. So, and then when I was in high school, I thought I went to Howard. So I stayed in that area all the time. So all of our stores mean something, and to me personally. And I make sure that I hire from the community, because I remember my mom raising 2 children by herself and, barely made $30,000. When I was getting my bachelor's, my mom was getting her associates. So it wasn't like I just had a trust fund or a life insurance policy that funded this entire thing. This was literally bootstrapped. And so when I employ people, I'm saying I remember what that looks like.
Wow.
I remember, my staff, they have 2 children. They're doing it by themselves, or they're single fathers. It's not just a single woman. There are people that look like me that have a need. So if the risk that I'm taking can provide on multiple levels for many people, then, so be it.
And that's a different level of impact too. When we talk about, I mentioned sustainability a lot. And again, a word that can mean many things to many different people. But, if I'm not helping someone else become sustainable and help build whatever journey they're trying to craft and cannot provide opportunities, whether it's economical opportunities or that's the sustainability that I think we need to create more of, especially when it comes to an economical standpoint, so the impact that you guys have, it's just like layer on top of layer on top of layer. And again, go to Turning. Okay. So there are 5 locations. All right. So there's one in District Heights, which I love. I go to that one. And then there's one on 8th Street. Yes. Correct. And then didn't you just open one in MGM?
We're building.
You're building it.
Yes.
Okay. I can't even. All right. So if you're at MGM, right, when is it opening? When is that location opening? You don't know? Okay. Well, I know when it comes to construction, and probably you just never know. And then the other 2 locations?
We're on 9th Street. And we're also, District Heights, 8th Street, MLK. Okay. 9th Street, which is the Shaw Howard, and MGM.
I can't. She's just a ball of everything. Her and her entire staff, it's
nothing without my team.
Nothing without your team. It's, it's a dream team over there. So we're going to take a really quick break, guys. Melissa here with the Edible Activist Podcast. I've been chatting with Jerri Evans, who is the owner of Turning Natural here in DC. And we've been having some really great conversations. Thank you for opening up a piece of you to me and to our audience and our listeners. I think it's always, it's just awesome that we get to share some of these personal stories, because, a lot of us can relate in so many different ways. And, you're just doing some badass stuff. So we're going to be right back, guys, real quick. You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artists Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com. right. All right. Happy Wednesday again, guys. So for those my latecomers, if you're just tuning in, this is Melissa L. Jones with the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live here from the lobby of the Line DC in Adams Morgan. And I've been chatting with Jerri Evans of Turning Natural. I've been fangirling since this morning. Okay. Call it bias if you want. But Jerri has continuing the legacy of what her mother started over 10 years ago, what started in the house, right? Mm-hmm. And so she's just been walking me through her journey growing up in Southeast DC and just the level of impact that Turning Natural has had and does have on the community. So thank you again for being here with me.
Thank you again for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely someone who I look up to. We have a lot of great people in the area and all over doing really great things. But when I tell you, when it comes to empowering like my sisters, like I'm here for it. So y'all go to Turning Natural, okay? She has 4 locations open, so you have no excuse not to go, okay? And one coming soon to MGM, which I'm really excited about.
Me too.
I'm so happy for you. That's actually a big deal.
It is.
That's a big deal. But I know with it, it's a big deal, but it comes with very big challenges.
Yeah, I was shaking in my boots signing that line.
I'm like,
Everyone's looking at me like, are you going to sign? And I'm like,
Oh my goodness. Well, again, we don't have a date, but I'll be looking for it. So if anybody's up there, the Gaylord, you're gambling, going to the concert, you don't got to gamble, look out for Turning Natural up there. So what does a typical day look like for you, Jerri? Because I'm curious. And before you start that, so Jerri is, okay, she's a former aeronautical engineer turned juicer, okay? So smarts, brain. My brother's an engineer. He ain't no aeronautical. He ain't no aeronautical engineer. But like that just sounds like a level of smartness that I just can't even comprehend. Okay.
So it's not like my grandmother says. She says I'm a rocket scientist. It's like 2 totally different things. Nowhere near it. Just airplanes. Just airplanes.
Just airplanes,
just
Jerri.
Airplanes. I know I'm minimizing it, but it's just airplanes. It really
You are definitely minimizing it, but okay. So former aeronautical engineer turned juicer. That just blows my mind. But aren't you licensed in like a holistic?
Yes.
Not medicine per se, but you have you hold some type of credential.
Yeah. So it's basically it's a licensed herbalist.
Okay, licensed herbalist.
So I quit my job. And for 2 years, I did absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Let me say this. I didn't work, school, or anything.
Yeah.
And I decided that I wanted to learn more about the stuff that I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to be one of those people that was like, a medicine woman in my kitchen. I wanted to really take this to the next level. And so I started working at the vitamin shop.
Really?
Yeah, I started working at the vitamin shop. It was this really cool, quirky lady who knew everything about everything. And I'm like, how do you know this stuff? And she's like, well, my parents raised me in the Amazon. I'm like, okay.
Well.
Yeah. And she's like, well, and then, Vitamin Shop University. And that's, to this day, I'm still a huge fan of Vitamin Shop. Mm-hmm. The way that they go through and choose which products they're going to intake. And they're opening it a little too wide when you can get flat tummy tea in there. Yeah. But as far as their supplements, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I started there, and she recommended me this place in Atlanta. And I was just obsessed. I was like, you can do all of this. You can have herbs. Herbs can literally heal almost anything. But then again, like I said, when you start talking, especially to Black people, about herbal stuff, anything outside of marijuana, they're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I said, well, how do I get people to change what they put on their plates? And it was juicing. And so juicing became something that I started to do in my living room. Well, not technically in my kitchen. And but a typical day for me, I get up every single day at 4:00 in the morning. Now I make more time to meditate, sit in a space of gratitude, and prepare myself for everything that's going to happen in the day, or that I don't know is going to happen in the day. And then I can't hit all of the stores. I probably do about 2.
Okay.
And I like to show my face because I still want to see the customer. I still want to hear what's happening. I don't really want to hear the complaints, but I have to hear those.
It's part of the job.
It's the only way I can fix it. But no, just to not lose the common touch. And you go through a position where you're transitioning from working in the business to working on the business. And I never want to stop working in the business, but as a CEO, I have to kind of put my CEO hat on and say, now I need to work on it.
Yes. Now, you guys have some pretty clever names when it comes to these juices. One of my favorite artists, J. Cole. Is that still an option up there, J. Cole?
It is. That's our newest
juice. How did you guys
juice.
come up with these names? And share some of the other names, too, that you have.
So we have Green Latifah.
I love...
We have Michael Jackson. We have Swiss Beats.
Yes,
we
Swiss
also
Beats.
have Just Blaze.
Yes.
Smoothie side, we have Marion Barry, of course.
Absolutely.
We have a late, great Petey Green, who, was into radio and broadcasting. And so I'm a huge music fan, specifically hip hop, and the impact that it has had on me. And I wanted to kind of either play on the name that, what's in it, the benefit of it. And it actually was what makes it relatable to people.
Absolutely.
So people come in like, let me get that Murray and Berry.
Right. It's a conversation starter. You come in I'm telling you, when I first went in, I was like, and I just giggled to myself. I just chuckled. I was just like, but it's a conversation starter, and that's where the community starts to build. You start to ask questions, and then
people take their guard down. They're not like, and no shade to any juice bar that sells green goodness. But I'm not ordering green goodness.
You don't want Goddess Green, Jerri?
No, it's like, no. But you throw Michael Jackson, I'm like, let me get Michael Jackson. Yeah. I mess with Mike.
Swiss Beats, I love it. Again, J. Cole's like one of my favorite artists. So that is so awesome. What are some of, and I like the fact that you said, you try to hit up a couple stores because you still want to be able to connect with your customer base. And again, like you are a relatable person, you are, and very warm, nice. And in doing that, what have been some of the narratives or some of the stories that you've heard from your customers who shop at your establishments? Because I'm sure there are many.
It is. And in the beginning, I was so hands-on. Like I was delivering cleanse packages and, doing consultations, and I was in it, like really, really in it. And when it transitioned to the point where now I have a team, and the team started out really small, it's like now the customer's like, where's Jerri? I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Jerri. Like, you don't know what I need. She knows what I need. And it was making that transition to make them comfortable enough, and now teaching, replicating myself as much as I can. And, you still have hiccups, and you still have the things that, people come in with. And customer service, I believe, is relative. People say, oh, well, because I can have a staff member that's really just straight to the point, and they'll email me, she was so rude.
Yeah, exactly.
And personally, I love New York customer service. Like, what do you want? You've been in line for 15 minutes and you don't know what you want yet? Next. Like, that's my type of customer service. Get me in and out.
As someone who's lived in New York City, I know what you mean.
I love it. But that's not for everybody.
No,
and that's fine. And so, teaching, again, hiring from the community, you're hiring with a certain skill set in mind. So we're developing these kids.
Yeah.
As sometimes this is their first job.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to necessarily communicate with you on the same level.
Right. That's real talk. Yep.
We're asking, not necessarily that you come down, but meet them where they are.
Absolutely.
Have a conversation. If it's something that you don't like, feel free to correct it. And, and if you don't feel like you want to correct it there, by all means, hit me up.
Exactly.
But the narrative is to, one, make sure that we make people feel seen. And that's important to me, that not only do our communities need this stuff, they deserve it. And that's how you make people feel like, I saw you. I saw your need, and I tried to provide as much as I could. And I think that's what I want my legacy to be, that I made people feel seen.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get so caught up in continuing my mom's legacy that I forget that I'm, kind of creating one myself.
Right.
And,
for sure.
that's...
Do you ever get the stories of, I've been struggling with, this health issue, and by the goodness of turning natural this location, I've been able to change my habits, like,
I've watched people literally transform before my eyes.
Wow.
People who come in that are obese.
Yeah.
Or, they're having skin issues or, they change. Their skin is now glowing. And their energy, not just their physical appearance. Like, they could come in and be nasty as hell. Right. And then you just give them a smile like, look, I don't want to fight today. Right. You want to fight? I don't. What can I get you? And now their energy has changed. And so I've watched people who was pregnant when they became customers, and now their kids are like 4. And I'm like, gosh, like, this is really moving fast, and their kids enjoy this, and that's important to me.
Yes.
I remember when our second year when we opened MLK, I would watch kids go to school, and they had Pepsis, and they had Doritos in their hair, going to school, and then we're asking them to sit for 7 or 8 hours and function after eating garbage. And so what I started doing, I would catch them in the morning, like, hey, if you give me that soda and that chips, I'll give you a smoothie and a patty. And they're like,
really?
And I'm like, what do you like? You like strawberries? You like mango? They're like, what if I threw some flaxseed in there? They're like, I don't want no flaxseed. What's that? I'm like, you're not going to taste it. I promise you. And then what happened is, now they're telling their parents, I have to go to Turn It Natural before I go to school. So now their parents are like, who are these people giving my kids stuff? It's like stranger danger type stuff.
Yeah.
So now the parents are showing up like, why are you giving my kid? I'm like, I'm watching them go to school with Pepsi. I'm just trying to help. And so now the parents
and you were
are
that kid.
I was that kid. And then I'm asked to perform, and I can't. I can't
I'm
because
high off sugar.
I'm high, and you're asking me to
and then I
sit
crash
still.
Yep.
I'm high. As an adult, I get high off sugar. And then you want me to sit still? No, I can't. Happen. And so, the initiative of, a lot of DC kids, they rely on breakfast and lunch to be fed from the school. But what happens in the summertime?
Right.
When school isn't in, how do they eat?
Right.
And so making sure that we are providing a resource to kids and their parents don't have to feel the burden of, how do I figure this out? It's like, we are a staple in a community that's going to help you figure it out together.
Absolutely. Spot on. Well, we just have a few more moments. I wish I can stay here for another 30 minutes and chat with Jerri. I know she got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, but I know she really has stuff to do. Before we get into our rapid fire to conclude the show, and I know we talked a bit about the impact that you guys are making. And operating a business is no joke at all. And when you operate a business, there's a level of grit and a level of perseverance that you need. And some people just don't understand that at all. Sometimes I wish people just as much as I wish people would understand the health thing, I wish they would understand like the business aspect of it. And when you have business, you have challenges, you have problems, you have success, you have everything. What has been like one of the biggest takeaways in operating a mission-driven operation? I know it's a million, but you can only pick one.
I think when people, as a social entrepreneur, as people are classifying it, it's like, do you struggle with making money? Absolutely not. I don't struggle with making money. I like living indoors. I like having clothes. I like being able to eat. I like my life. No, I don't struggle with making money. But one thing my mom used to say that she got from John Maxwell was mission first, people always. And you can't have the mission without people. And the people are the mission.
Right.
So you never lose focus on what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And so it is a struggle because people have their critiques and people have their opinions and, these things. I keep saying opinions aren't facts. And my mantra for the last couple of years has just been focus on the love. Because even though the critiques and, some things are true. Some things that they say are absolutely true. Yeah. But I cannot make that something that I focus on. I can only really focus on the love and sort through the critiques like, oh, how can I do this better?
Exactly.
And even though because you can go to Yelp and you can see 1,000 good reviews and the 5 bad ones. You're like, but wait. And you're like, you're missing the 1,000 people who said job well done for the 5 that said this sucked.
Exactly.
And so my thing is like, okay, well, I want to figure out why it sucked. Like, what happened where it sucked? And for some people, I just can't, you know, make them happy.
Everything.
But I definitely, it's not absent accountability. It's not absent, you know, responsibility. But definitely focus on the love.
Absolutely. Focus on the love.
And don't feel bad about making money.
That's the other thing that I definitely want. I got to bring you back in. Because you know what? And I have to say this real quick. I said, you listen to my shows. I'm just talking to my listeners. I talk about this even offline, especially as Black people. We are afraid for some reason. Some of us, not all of us. We think it's not okay to make money.
Because if you're not making money, it's a hobby. It's not a business.
Exactly. It's okay to make money. It is okay.
Just don't forget your mission.
Don't forget your mission. Don't forget the people, and don't forget the love. And also, like, leverage your platform to help other people. You know, for sure. And that's, again, when I look at Turning Natural, it's more than just a juice bar. It's more than a health campaign, a health movement. You know, it's more than a legacy. It's more than sustainability. It's more than, you know, creating economical opportunities for the people here in the DC area. Like, I can keep saying it's more than, because it's so many things.
Far too kind. Thank you.
I'm so serious. And I have a sensitivity to business owners in general, because I've had my business for the past almost 10 years. Everybody knows I was a former. Thank you. I'm transitioning out of that and into something that I don't know what I'm doing, as I say all the time.
You do know what you're doing, putting it out there.
It's hard. It's hard. And my god sister reminds me of this all the time. If you don't want to fail, if you don't want to make a mistake, don't do nothing, you know. But the people who are being critiqued and the people who are being, you know, looked at and comments, it's because we are building. And when you build and you put yourself up on a platform, you just expose yourself to that. I've had people come for me in this own platform, and that's because I'm building and I'm exposing myself. So it's a risk every single day. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. I appreciate the work that your staff is doing. And, like, I'm a supporter. So Turning Natural, where can they find Turning Natural at online and social media?
Sure, www.turningnatural.com. We're on Instagram. Everything is Turning Natural. So if you look at them on Instagram, Facebook, everything's Turning Natural.
Awesome. I look forward to the MGM location. I'm going just because. I don't need to go to the location, but I'm going just because I'm going to be there. So, all right, cool. So we're going to close out our segment with a quick rapid fire. You ready?
Sure.
This will be easy for Jerri. This will be so easy for her. Okay. All right. So, Jerri, what is your favorite leafy green?
I'm obsessed with Brussels sprouts right now.
Are you really? That was the first for our show.
Really?
Yeah. I love Brussels sprouts too. But
and the trick is put any seasoning or spice from the Spice Suite to make it taste amazing.
Oh, shout out to the Spice Suite.
Specifically the vanilla fig balsamic. Sorry.
Ooh, do you roast yours, or do you like
I roast them?
Okay, because I like crispy Brussels sprouts, and sometimes I don't get them crispy all the time and I get disappointed, but I love me some Brussels. Okay, so sweet, spicy, sour, or salty?
Spicy.
Okay. What is your favorite fruit?
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Give me I'm tickled. Okay, so what's cooking in your pot these days?
Like literally or figuratively?
Literally. It could be something from yesterday, last week.
Yesterday, I made a 16-bean vegan chili.
A 16-bean?
Yeah, it was like lentils, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas.
Okay.
I couldn't even name all the beans, but it said 16 on that thing.
I didn't even know that 16 exists. I mean, I buy like the 13-bean soup in a packet. I didn't even know that. I could be lying.
It may not have been 16, but it was a lot.
Jerri over here adding beans, which is fine. Okay, so what is one way someone can channel their inner edible activism?
Don't stop educating people. Make sure that we're educating people. I appreciate an educated consumer.
Yes.
And
do your research.
Don't stop teaching our kids about health, because they hopefully become healthy adults.
Exactly. And they do what they see.
Absolutely.
So if they see us being healthy, then, they'll do the same thing. That's the hope, All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We're here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m. and you can access each episode after it airs on iTunes and Spotify. You can also catch today's show on fullserviceradio.org, which is also home to 50 other really cool podcasters. So check them out, guys. Be sure to follow me at Food Talks DC on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? If so, please come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Peace.